Hello, I'm Linda with this week's Savvy Saturday video tutorial for Spellbinders Paper Arts. This week we're showing you technique, the different techniques that can be used with the Spellbinders dies and embossabilities. For my card today I'm going to be using the Elegance Embossabilities, the New Labels 28, Nestability, and I'm using the third largest size in that one, and the Classic Ovals, and I'm using the second largest size in that one. One of my favourite techniques is using ink on the embossing folders and on the dies, so I'm going to be showing you both today to make an elegant and simple card. I'm using the B side of the embossing folder, and I'm taking my ink and rubbing it on the B side so that the background is coloured, giving it a good white. Okay, putting the card in. I have cut my card to size. I've cut mine to 10 by 14.5 centimetres for my card. Okay. We're adding our inked embossing folder with the card in it to the base plate, and then adding the raspberry embossing plate and running through our grand caliber. One of the fun things about this technique is you probably don't get the same result each time you run it through. So opening it up, you can see here the added ink. Now one of the things you'll find is the ink doesn't cover it all over. Well, most times it doesn't cover it all over, but that's part of the look. You'll notice that although I used a fairly bright ink, I've used the curry ink, that it is a lighter colour on the embossed card. So the next thing that I do is I just define around the edges a little bit. Okay. And then I get a darker colour, and normally my daubers are pretty full of colour anyway, so I just run it around the edges just lightly to just define it just a little bit more. I'll just pop this finished piece aside ready for the next step, and we're going to be inking the nestabilities. I'm using the Colourbox stylus and Colourbox ink and curry, and just lightly, while the card is still in the die, we're going to sponge around the edges lightly to create a frame. For the sake of the video, I have a finished one here, and you'll see that it leaves a beautiful white border. Normally I'd add my bling at the end, but today I want to just elaborate the frame a little bit more on this, so I've added my Want to Scrap bling on either end of the Labels 28, and on top of that I've got a pre-stamped Classic Oval using the Flourishes Pansies. I've coloured it, and we're going to pop it up on foam tape. I've used fairly wide foam tape. Just popping it on there onto the frame to give that added dimension, just trying to centre it as much as we can. I'll just turn it around so you can see the finished result there. While you weren't looking, I've popped on some satin ribbon, some wide satin ribbon, and popped a piece of lace across the back, and I've used Score Pal 1/2 inch wide tape, and we're going to stick the card onto the base, and I'll just check it's the right way up. I'm notorious for doing that. Going to pop it on. Okay, there we go. And I've taken the framed image, popped it on foam tape, and adding it to the card, centering. There we go. And now it's time for the bow. To add the bow, I'm using some of the zip dry paper glue, one of my favourite glues. Okay. fiddling with the bow, popping it on and just holding it in place for a second while it dries. To finish off, I've glued an embellishment onto the bow. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial and that you have fun with your inks and your embossing folders and dies. I'm sure that once you try it, you'll love it as much as I do. Makes an elegant card very quick and easy. Gives it the wow factor we all love. Thank you.